How to play medical Monopoly. The shuffle and place the office visit cards near or on the board. Place the symptoms facing up. Place the office visit card on top. Now do the same with the first aid cards and the transplant cards. One player will receive the Oregon Skeletal Drugstore Pharmacy Operating Room X-ray Vaccination Specialist Typhoid Carrier Card. Each player will start the game with 10 $50 bills. Each player will roll the dice. The highest roller will pick his hospital first. Next highest roller will pick their hospital, etc. There can be 2 to 4 players. After the lowest roller places their marker, he then rolls the dice again. He may then decide which of the 2 dices is more favorable to him. After the first player has completed his turn, the player on his right then rolls the dice. If you land on the pharmacy, drugstore, X-ray radiotherapy, operating room, you may rent the medical facility listed on the space for the amount stated. You will retain the cards until another player lands on the space. The last player to land on the space is entitled to the car but must pay for it. If a player lands on the organ bank, they may purchase one of the body parts listed and hold it until he is able to use it in a transplant operation or some other medical problem he may encounter. If you land on the transplant spot, you are to draw a transplant card from the top of the transplant deck. You examine it to determine if a body part is missing. If you have the body part missing, you could perform an operation. If you perform an operation, you will win to patience. If you cannot recognize what body part is missing or did not possess the missing part, there is no penalty or reward. When you land on the office visit spot, you are to draw an office visit card from the top of the office visit deck. You are to examine the symptoms set out in the card and state what the illness is and what is necessary to treat it. If you correctly identify the illness and the treatments and also possess a treatment card, you win a patient. You do the same for the first aid cards as the office visit cards. If you do not know the treatment or did not possess a treatment card, there's no penalty or reward. When you land on the specialist face, you may choose to become a medical specialist by paying $200 for the additional training. This card make the owner double all his winnings but also means it doubles your cost. When you land on the typhoid carrier's face, you will catch the typhoid fever germ, and you must take the typhoid fever carrier card. Whenever you own this card and land on any hospital visiting space, you are to roll the dice to determine how many hospital patient death you cost. You are to keep this card until another player lands on the space. When you land on the vaccination space, you receive a free vaccination that protect you from the smallpox and the typhoid fever carrier visits. You are to keep this card until another player lands on the space. When you land on your own hospital visit space, you collect 50 from each of your patients. If you visit your hospital with typhoid fever carrier card, you are first to determine the number of deaths you caused and then collect 50 from each of the survivors. If you land on another player's hospital visit space and he at least has one patient, you can collect 50 from the owner as a consultation fee. If the owner has no money, you can take one of his patients as a payment. When you land on the hemorrhage space, you may win a patient if you have the blood card to give a transfusion. Return the blood card to the Oregon bank after you have used it. When you land on the heart attack space, you may win a patient by treating the heart attack victim with digitalis, inserting a pacemaker, or performing a heart transplant. If you perform a heart transplant, you win to patients. If you land on the infected tonsil space, you will win a patient if you have an operating room or a pharmacy card. When you land on the school bus crash, you roll the dice. The high number is the injured. The low number is a killed. You minus the low from the high to get the number of patients admitted to the hospital. When you land on the fainting spells, you win a patient. When you land on the smallpox epidemic, you roll the dice to determine how many hospital deaths the epidemic caused to your hospital, unless of course you had the vaccination card. When you land on the doctor's illness, you lose 3 turns. When you land on the executive examination, you collect 50 from the bank. Whoever fills their hospital first with patients is the most successful medical doctor in their 4 wins.